Hi. Hello and welcome to Object-Oriented Programming. Today is our kickoff. And first of all, can you hear me also in the back there? Sounds great. Thank you. Okay. So today is our kickoff. Thank you for being here. And yeah, we are starting with organizational stuff, of course, in the beginning, as always. Let me introduce myself. My name is David. Of course, you can say du in German to me. And I'm holding this lecture together with my colleague and nice-looking Alexander, who is absent for today. I'm sorry for that. He's in Vienna at a workshop, but I think next week we are both here and we are holding the lecture together. A little bit about myself. So maybe most of you know me already from ESP, Introduction to Programming from last semester. And this is then the follow-up course from ESP, but we will come to that. So yes, I'm in my PhD. I started my PhD in October. So I did, as most of you, the bachelor in computer science, then the master in computer science, and now I'm doing my PhD. And I have the honor to have this very interesting lectures, ESP and OOP1. If you have questions, of course, you can contact us, you can come to us, but we will have another slide how you should contact us. And of course, we are not alone because, as you can see, this is a huge course. We have over 500 students. So we also have a practical streaming team. Maybe you can introduce yourself.
So it's working, the microphone. So I'm Michi, and probably you already know me also from Introduction to Programming. And yeah, I will do the practicals together with Julia. And a very short part about me, I'm currently studying computer science in the master's, and I'm also studying mathematics in the bachelor. And I'm not alone, also Julia.
Hi, my name is Julia. I'm also studying computer science. I'm still in the bachelor, but yeah, I think you could also know me from ESB, and I also did VSB, so yeah.
Great, yeah, thank you so much. So maybe you know these two also from ESP, from the practicals, and it will be pretty much the same also this year. But as you might have seen, we will do it now in the lecture hall, not online, but we will also come to that why we will do it like this. Of course, you can also call us du in German. I think that's more convenient, and for us it's totally fine because we are also students like you. And we also have one assignment coordinator, Lena, which is responsible for everything about the assignments, so creating the assignments, grading, and so on. And of course, you can contact her if you have problems, but the best possible way to do it is most likely using Discord. But of course, we are not alone. We have many student assistants. I think we have 16 or 17 approximately. I don't know the exact number, sorry for that. We have a huge amount of study assistants or tutors, which you will have much contact with because they are correcting your assignments, holding the assignment interviews with you. So you will be introduced to them in a couple of weeks, maybe. A few general information. So it is a little bit like in ESP, we have our official course website, coding.theograz.at. There should be all the relevant stuff you maybe want to know about the course. I highly recommend you to use our Discord server. If you are not there, please join the Discord server. It is the same Discord server as it was in ESP. We arranged it a bit for now OOP, but it is the same one. So if you have questions, use this Discord server. And as you might have already seen in ESP, you get an answer quite frequently and quite early. There are a few tutors which are very often at Discord. Tamim, yeah. He's our, or let's say in ESP, he was the tutor who responded in minimum of 5 minutes. So thank you, Tamim, once again for that. Unfortunately, you are not a tutor now at OOP1, but you are still a tutor at ESP in the summer semester. So for people who taking ESP once again, maybe you will meet him there. Maybe. Okay, and of course we also have a Teach Center. Yeah, Teach Center course where we have registrations for the group, for example, or the homework, but we will come to that. I think the most important thing is to go to our course website, to go on Discord, because we will announce everything important during the semester on Discord, and all the relevant stuff is also listed on our course website. And as I said before, this course has 2 lecturers, so it's quite a few. Quite a few teaching assistants, of course. 17 teaching assistants, but even more students, 500 students. So me and Alex, we cannot handle everything. Of course, if you have a question, please follow some kind of order, depending on the question. So at first, the first thing you could do is please contact us on Discord. And also check if the question has already been asked, because it might be that there is somebody else who had the same question. So please have a look, or frequently look at the Discord channels if there is a question which also might arise from you. Then, of course, you can ask at the lecture or at the practicals here at the lecture hall. You can ask your tutor. You can also go to personal question hours. We will announce them soon. And then, if you have personal questions or personal concerns, then I think if all the steps above are not appropriate, then please contact us on coding@theograz.at. This email will directly go to me and to Alex. And of course, we can discuss then what's the problem. But of course, if you're not on Discord, please join Discord. This should be the main message of the first slides here. Shortly about what we have planned. So, as you have seen, we are in the lecture hall here at I13, and this will be recorded. So there is a camera in behind, and it will be recorded, and we upload it to Tube, and we also plan to upload it to our YouTube channel. Maybe many of you know our YouTube channel already. We will also upload it there, because I think most of you are used to this YouTube channel, and that's a good idea. That's why we decided still using YouTube. So we take the recordings and upload it to YouTube, but it might take, I don't know, 1 day or so, Friday, maybe Saturday, then it will be on YouTube, and on the Tube will be available on the next day. So it just takes a few hours for us. Maybe the most important thing is you don't have to be here. There is no mandatory attendance, so keine Anwesenheitspflicht in German. But we highly recommend it, and we like it if there are so many people. I hate it personally to speak in front of 3 people in a lecture hall with 300 people. That's a bit frustrating and a little bit humiliating, even though, so please come to our lecture hall, please come to the lectures and the practicals. Or if it does not fit in your time schedule, that's also fine. That's why we record it. But we highly recommend it because, in my opinion, being in the lecture hall, you are more focused on the topic than just watching a recording at home. So in general, this is not in this week, but in general, we will start with the practicals of Michi and Julia. It will take an hour and 15 minutes about, then we'll make a short break, 10 to 15 minutes, and then we start with the lecture at 5:30. Again, 1 hour and 15 minutes approximately, and we will end then before 7 p.m. with the lecture. So I know there are 3 hours from 4 p.m. to 7 p.m. I know that it's long. We make a short break. We try to make it as interesting as possible always. We want to also involve you, and this is also the part where I want to say that please, if you have questions, just ask them. We changed our setting from online lecture to this in-person lecture here because we wanted to have more interaction. Of course, you have the YouTube chat. That's quite a nice thing for us, but it is more interesting for me when I see all the people there and not just looking in a camera. So please, if you have questions, just ask them. We are here to answer your questions and to give you a better overview of the concepts. So that's why we tried. So it's my opinion, it's a try for 1 semester. We tried it to move it to the lecture hall. Then I think we will evaluate how you liked it. And even though it's not your concern anymore if you pass the lecture, but it doesn't say that we move always then to the lecture hall. I don't know, it's a try for 1 semester. I hope you like it. And for everybody who likes more the online style, we offer the recordings anyway. All right, we will come to the lecture and the practicals in more detail soon. Yeah.
Why is there no live stream parallel to the?
So the question is, I just repeated for the recording. The question is, why is there no live stream? And I've waited for this question. I think, Tamim, you wrote a very good statement today. I know that it would be more convenient to you if we offer a live stream, and we discussed that, but we want you to come here. That's the main reason, because I think you learn more when you sit here than sitting at home. But we also know that it's not for everybody possible to be here because of different reasons. That's why we offer the recordings. You don't have that big disadvantage when watching the recording because it comes 1 or 2 days after the lecture. But if you have questions, you should come here, and the live stream, the live stream invites to stay at home, and we want you to come here. That's the main reason. All right. As I said, we will come to more detailed lecture and practicals organization in a few slides. But at first, I want you to give a short overview of what OOP means. So OOP, in our case, is built on what you have learned in ESP. So taking ESP before OOP1 is highly recommended, which does not mean you have to pass it. So ESP, of course, it's fine, but we assume that you at least remember the concepts of ESP. We will not go into detail about pointers anymore, but we will build on the foundation from ESP. And if you haven't passed ESP, you can also take the ESP practicals in the summer semester, and you can also take the OOP1 course in the winter semester. So we offer both in both semester, but we, of course, would encourage you to stay and have a try if OOP1 is doable for you. As I said, we recommend that you passed ESP, but if you say, okay, you had other issues in ESP, you know the concept, or you learned in the meantime the basic concepts, then it's also fine to take OOP1 even though you haven't passed ESP. My opinion is, because of my self-experience, I didn't pass ESP in the first semester. It was just too hard for me. Then I used the February and practiced a lot in C and C++, and then I accomplished OOP1 with a 1, and in the next semester I did ESP with a 1, so it's also in the other way around possible. And another question what might arise from your side is, why do we learn C++? Of course, it's a little bit of an old language. Why do we learn OOP in general? And yeah, a little bit of a silly answer in this case is OOP1 is the foundation for so many other courses here. Of course, for OOP2, where you learn, I think it's Java in OOP2, right? Yeah. System level programming, very important course to learn the foundations of the, let's say the most feared course of all operating systems. And operating systems is mainly or 100% in C++. So OOP1 is very important, because when you want to pass operating systems in the fourth semester, you have to go through this course to learn the basics, of course. And there are also other courses like computer graphic or computer vision, where you also need C++. So as you can see, C++ is needed here on university, in other courses, and that's why we are teaching C++ here at the second semester. This is, of course, the, let's say, silly answer to that. But still, C++ is one of the most used languages in the world. I know there are different rankings, and this is one ranking I took it yesterday, but C++ is on number 3 here. And of course, it might vary depending on which source you are taking, but believe me, C++ is always in the let's say top 10 languages you have to learn, or the most used languages. And that's why we think that C++ is still a thing to learn, because what the cool thing is, in my opinion, when you know C and C++, of course they are hard to learn. We know that they are hard to learn. But when you can program and when you master these both languages, approximately all other languages are easy to learn. So, of course, we are starting with the hardest ones, but then, learning Python, learning Java, learning whatever is just a matter of days, maybe. So, if you know C and C++, you have a very good foundation of programming. So as I said, it's easier than to learn Python, Java, or object-oriented programming languages in general, JavaScript, Go, and whatever. They all have many concepts in common with C++. Many languages are easier than C++, we know that. So take it as we start with the hardest language, and then it's only getting easier. But C++ has, of course, some other advantages. It is a very efficient and a fast language compared to other languages. As far as I know, for example, many Python libraries are in the back implemented in C and C++, because they should be faster than, or they are faster than. C++ has also a big community. There is a huge reference list. Maybe I can click on that. So this is the C++ reference. You will come over this site when you Google about C++. When you have any questions, there is, I think, there are so many answers about that. So, okay, how can I come back now? I don't know. That's what I needed. Okay. Yeah, and also C++ still offers great career opportunities because it is used in so many products. For example, Photoshop uses C++. Spotify, the backend of Spotify, uses C++. YouTube is using C++. And I think all the major operating systems also using C++. So Windows, Linux, macOS, and so on, they are all have at least a part of implementation in C++. So C++ is still everywhere. And I know there are modern or more modern languages, but I think it's worth learning C++. All right, I think we talked now a little bit about the lecture or the organization of the lecture in more detail. So, as we have said, or as you might have seen, we are meeting here on Thursdays. The lecture from next week starts at 5:30 p.m. from 7 p.m. And we are meeting here in the lecture hall. Of course, there is a recording. And Alex and myself, we are talking about basic concepts in C++. We will go a little bit into programming, so we will also have VS Code open and program a little bit. I don't know how you handle it. I think you will program a little bit more than we do. But the idea is also, and that's a question which always arises, why are the practicals before the lecture? And I want to describe our idea here. So it is like in the lecture, Alex and we are talking about the concepts. And in the following week, in the practicals before, Michi and Julia will repeat all these concepts. So you have 1 week in between. They are repeating in the practicals the concepts, and then we start with the next concept. And the idea is that you hear the concepts once again before you start with a new concept. On my perspective, if we would change it and if we say, okay, first we do the lecture and then 10 minutes break and we start with the practicals, you are overwhelmed with the concepts, you don't know the concepts, and then you see the implementation and it might be that you're even more overwhelmed by that. And our idea was that you have 1 week in between where you have a look at the concepts on your own and then see it once again from our practicals team how you could implement or how you can use it. Yeah, and the lecture part, so as you have seen, there is a lecture part in the TOG Online. If you are registered for the lecture part, you have to pass the exam at the end of the semester or during the semester. It's up to you. So it depends when you want to register for the exam. But for the lecture part, you only have to pass the exam. Whenever you take the exam, it's up to you. The approximately schedule for the lecture, so we will start, of course, today with our kickoff. Afterwards, it will take, let's say, half an hour, this kickoff, and then we start with an introduction to C. Then next week, we will go into classes and scope and inheritance, and there are so many topics we will cover, but I don't want to go too much into detail here, but these are the lectures we will hold in the next weeks. And as I said before, you have to pass the exam. And as you might have seen from ESP, there are two types, two options you can register. It's the same as in ESP, the same format also here in OOP1. So it is computer-based in a classroom, and there are two options. The first one is the bring your own device option. And this only works if you have a Windows or a Mac, because you need to install the Safe Exam browser. And this unfortunately only works on Windows and on Mac. It doesn't work on Linux. But then if you have a Windows and a Mac, you should install the Safe Exam browser, and you will come to the lecture hall with your own device. Maybe it's here in this lecture hall or in the P1. And then you write the exam on your own device. The other option is, if you only have a Linux device, we offer you an equipped computer room where you can write the exam on computers of our infrastructure. So there are most likely Windows devices in these computer rooms, and there you can write the exam, because there is pre-installed also the Safe Exam browser. And when you register for an exam, so there are 3 possibilities this semester. Of course, next semester there are 3 again, and so on. When you register for an exam, you will see that you have both possibilities. So this bring your own device option and this other option if you don't have a Windows or a Mac device. So please register for one of them, and then you will get an email the day before where you should go to write the exam. Yeah. Ja.
Und zwar, es steht, dass Stoff gemacht wird bis Mitte Mai ungefähr, aber die Prüfung ist schon 17. April. Was wird dann in der Prüfung gefragt? Wird da auch alles gefragt? Ist das für die Leute vom letzten Semester sozusagen? Oder nur bis zu dem Stoff, was wir gemacht haben?
So the question is, there is content until the end of May, but there is already an exam on the 17th of April. Is there a reduced content of the exam? And unfortunately not. Of course, it is the whole content. It is mainly, the idea is mainly for all the people who participated in OOP the last semester or the semester before. So if you are new to this course, I would not recommend to take the exam in April. I would recommend for most of you to take the exam in June, in one of these dates in June, because we will, when I go back, we will be finished in mid-May, roundabout in the mid of May. So the April date will be too early for most of you, but then register for the June dates for one of them. And if both are not fine for you, it might happen. Don't worry, we will offer again one exam date in October, maybe, then in December, and then in January next year again. So whenever you want to take it, it's up to you. Any other questions to exams or others? No. Okay, great.
So there's one more remark on the exams. In winter semester, another institute is doing the lecture, and you can also take the exam with these lecturers. It's completely the same content that they are teaching, so it doesn't matter where you're doing the exam. In winter semester, summer semester, it's really the same content, and it doesn't matter if David is doing the exam or the lecture team of the winter term.
Thanks, yeah. Good, Mark. Okay, so the grading, quite obvious, like always, just want to have to mention it. We have 100 points in total, and if you have less than 50 points, the same as in ESP, you will not pass the course, and otherwise you will get the grade according to this scheme here. All right, that was already the lecture part. Are any questions from the lecture part, or to the lecture part, about the lecture part? Everything clear so far? Of course, when questions arise, you can always ask on Discord. Yes?
Will all the lectures take place in English or in German?
So the question is, will all lectures be in English? Yes, the lectures and the practicals will be in English, but of course you can talk to us in German if you like, so it's totally fine for me, obviously. And also the assignment interviews can be in German or English. It's up to you, but the lectures and also the assignments are all written, and we are holding the lecture in English. Any other questions? Great. Then I think it's your turn to talk about the practicals.
Can you hear me? Okay. So let's get to the practicals, to the organization. Test. Okay.
Ja.
Okay, so let's come to the practicals.
Muss noch näher. It's also the first time for us with microphones, so please be a bit patient with us.
Test. Okay. Okay, so the practicals, as David said, are before the lectures. They also take place here. Me and Michi are holding those, and most often we'll just do some exercise, we'll program something, just so you get a bit more experience and practice when programming. To pass the practicals, there are many different things you need to do to get points, so it's not just an exam. And what you need to do, we'll get to now. Okay, so there are 3 homeworks, like in ESP. Then there's assignment 1, which you will need to do individually. So, yeah, and then assignment 2 and assignment 3, you have to find a team or register, so you get assigned to a team, but there you will work in groups of 3. The homeworks, as I said, there are 3, and they're less work than the assignments, and most often you don't program anything, it's just some exercises, so you get a better understanding for the things we're doing. And yeah, also they're individually, so only assignment 2 and 3 is teamwork. Yeah, so they're similar to ESP. And yes, regarding the points, there are 3 points per homework.
Okay, then we come to the first assignment. So as we already discussed before, assignment 1 would be individual work. And I would just give you a brief outline of the most important dates now. So we will present assignment 1 in 2 weeks on Thursday. So it's just the last Thursday before the Easter break. And then you will have 3 weeks to complete the assignment. So you have the total 2 weeks of Easter. And then on the 10th of April, there will be the deadline. There is a requirement that you need to fulfill. You probably know this already from Introduction to Programming. We offer test cases, and there are public test cases that you can see why you failed them, and there are also additionally private test cases. Now the requirement is that you pass at least 50% of our public test cases. That's the requirement to get a grade. What if you do not pass them, or you do not submit anything to assignment 1, then it's very fine for you because you do not get a grade at all. So if you do not fulfill this requirement, even if you submit something for assignment 1, you will not get a grade. So you can really try assignment 1, and it's no problem if you stop or if you fail or whatever. You can really give it a try, and it's no problem there. And we said assignment 2 and assignment 3 will be a team assignment. So there will be some phase where you select your team, which will be immediately after the deadline of assignment 1. And you need to form teams of 3 students. And in this case, it's really exactly 3 students. So we do not allow teams of 1 or 2 students. And in this team, you will work then for assignment 2 and assignment 3. And now, one more important thing, and this is now really the requirement to obtain a grade. Once you register to a team, you will obtain a grade. So if you just submit assignment 1 and do not register to a team for assignment 2 and assignment 3, you will not receive a grade. However, if you register to the team, then we really want you to finish also the practicals, because it would be unfair if you could just register to a team and then stop, and your other 2 colleagues in the team would have to complete the course only as a team of 2. And for that reason, we say registration to a team is implying to get a grade. Otherwise, no grade. Now I already announced assignment 2, teamwork, but now what happens in assignment 2?
Maybe a remark about the teams. If you sign up to get automatically assigned to a team, this is then based on how well you did on A1.
So we should mention this. Yeah, if you do not find a team on your own, then you can just register to a group where we assign the teams, and then we'll also consider the effort and the effort that you put in assignment 1.
Okay, so let's get to A2. We'll present A2 at the 18th of April, and then quite soon later, there's a deadline for a design document. What you have to hand in there is just a small document where you have to describe how you plan on structuring your program for A2. This is because a bit later we'll have these design discussions, and they'll start at the 26th, but of course it's just like assignment interviews, so you can register the date on your own, but the attendance to these design discussions is mandatory. And the deadline for the assignment is the 22nd.
And I can also mention, if we now have such a design document there, so where we really have to submit a plan for your assignment 2, so this really implies that assignment 2 will be a larger project than you're used to in Introduction to Programming or assignment 1 of the OOP1.
Yes, and these design documents and design discussions may also help you to reduce your workload during A2, because if you do something in a way that's not really working, we can already spot that in the design discussions, so you will have less work learning that the hard way. And then at the end, as always, there will be assignment interviews. Okay, then there's also A2 second chance. So if you didn't manage to get more than 66% of all test cases on A2, then you will need to do the second chance for A2, which the deadline is at the 12th, which is the same as the deadline for A3. However, it is not mandatory. So, okay, if you have less than 66% of test cases, you can't do A3, you have to do A2, but it's not mandatory to do it if you're already positive. And if you're negative, then of course it's more or less mandatory to pass the course, because then you need the points to get positive. But you can also do it if you're just unhappy with the points you got in A2. So this is just a chance for you to get more points. Then let's come to A3. A3 will take place during the same time period as the second chance for A2. You can do it if you passed more than 66% of A2 test cases. The deadline is again the 12th. And it's not mandatory to pass the course.
And assignment 3 will also differ a bit from the other assignments that you were used to. So it will be really more a fun assignment at the very end. But we will not go into too many details now. So we just keep this as a, how called it now in English, as a teaser.
Yeah, so you're more open what you want to do with assignment 3, and this can be quite fun. So if you didn't get all that, don't worry. We have this flow chart of what you can do to pass or fail the course, and this is also available on our website.
But it took me an hour to create.
But to be honest, last year it was double the size.
Yeah. Yes?
Was there a question?
Okay.
Okay, then. There is a question.
So we shouldn't start with programming A2 before we have the design interview.
Yes, that's probably a good idea.
So this really should help you that you construct a concept that will then work out at the end.
Can you go back one slide? So if my team is not well enough at A2, over 66%, I have no chance to do A3, I have to rework A2.
Yeah, so A3 really builds on A2, and if you don't manage to pass 66% of the A2 test cases, it's not really possible to do it.
There was some question?
Yes.
So you are in the same group of A2 and A3. That was the question for the recording. One more? You will be a team of 3, of exactly 3 people.
Yes? Yes, in the assignment interviews, you will again have to implement something in your own code.
And each member of a team needs to individually implement something. Okay, then we continue, otherwise just knock. So how do you receive now the points? So this is the grading scheme on the assignments. So we already said the homeworks each are 3 points. Assignment 1, the starting assignment, which you do individually, will be 16 points. Then assignment 2 is really the most important thing in this practical. So it is 60 points, and the remaining points are for assignment 3. So it's really to get the grade 1, we have assignment 3 there. And also the grading scheme is the same as it's always. So you need at least 50% of the total points, and all the other grades are equally distributed from 50 to 100. Okay, how do you receive the points at the different assignments? So it's not always the completely same scheme. There will be some adaptations for each and every assignment, but in general there will be a functionality part. So you need to pass test cases, and this is always the case. And then there is also a code quality part, which only applies for assignment 2, where you have to follow a style guide and some quality criteria, which you already know from Introduction to Programming, most likely. And we also have, again, deductions. So there are really some requirements that you need to follow, some coding guidelines. And otherwise, if you do not follow them, you would really get a point deduction there. And we have a really detailed description on our course website. So it's just on the Notion, and then there's a link to assessment of assignments. And then you really find all the details on the grading scheme there. And yeah, one last remark on the assignment interviews. So assignment 1 does not have, there was a question. So the style guide will be the same as in Introduction to Programming. And yes, So if you follow this link on this slide, then you really see exactly what the criteria are that you need to follow, and also how you should structure your code, how your code should look like. So everything is included on this website. Okay, then back to the assignment interviews. So for assignment 1, there will not be an assignment interview. So it's really just submitting the assignment and then we will grade it. However, for assignment 2 and assignment 3, there will be assignment interviews in person. In particularly for assignment 2, you have to program something. In assignment 3, it will be a bit different. And of course, it's mandatory attendance there. If you do not go to the assignment interview, you will not receive any points for the assignment. And this assignment 2 makes more than 50% of all points, you will be negative. As always, we will publish the dates, and or each and every tutor will publish the dates for the assignment interviews, and you can register then. We will announce this at Discord. And yeah, in the assignment interviews we already said, there will be questions about your code, and of course you need to explain your program and also extend your program, but I think you already should know this from the last semester. The deadline for the team submission will be around mid of April. So when you submit assignment 1, there will be approximately 1 week until there's the end of team selection. So we don't have a concrete date yet, but it will be before assignment 2 is published. So somewhere mid of April. Yeah?
Does the group have to take the same assignment slot? So do I also always register as free?
Yeah, you register as a group for the assignment interviews. Yeah. So you more or less have a part in the team where you discuss how good your assignment was, how good your submission was, how many test cases you passed, and then everyone will receive an individual programming task. Of course, if it's not possible to go there as a team, there will be an individual solution if this is really needed.
Okay, then let's get to a more serious topic. Plagiarism. Okay, every copy of foreign code leads to plagiarism if it is not marked correctly. We follow a zero tolerance policy regarding plagiarism. And every attempt at cheating is reported. Also, this is also important, we treat the involvement of ChatGPT or Copilot, so this might even be built in your IDE, the same as if another person would have helped you. So you really need to source, to cite that this was the source for that code.
Maybe.
Yes?
Yeah.
We're in a team of 3 people. What if one person is doing plagiarism and the others not?
That's a good question.
Yeah?
Okay. Of course, you should trust your teammates. That's the best case, yeah, that everybody is honest and declare it when using ChatGPT or whatever other source. But of course, we can detect who wrote this line of code, and we will also identify who participated or wrote code, who wrote more code, who of you maybe wrote just a few code of lines or none. So we can identify this. And we also could identify who did this. Okay. But I also want to say, in addition to that, I hate this plagiarism discussions in the end of the semester. So please do not do it, because in the end we will have a meeting. So Alex, me, and you will have a meeting and you have to describe or say why you think there is a plagiarism. And it's hard for us, of course, to have these discussions. We don't like it, but there are always a few students. It's not the majority, of course, but there are always a few students who have, I don't know, more than 50% copied from another source. And this is so obvious that we have no other option than report this to the dean office. So please do not plagiarism. And if you found something on a website or if you use ChatGPT, it's not totally forbidden. Of course, you can use it. You can discuss it with other students. It might help you to get new ideas and new concepts. But please, leave a comment. I discussed this with that person, or I have this from ChatGPT. And we see this in the assignment interviews. And of course, we want to know if you understand this code. And then might be that we have a question about this code. But it is the way better way than investing hours during the semester. Let's say you need, 70 hours for the assignments. And in the end, you will get, in the best case, a negative grade. In the worst case, you get a mark and the dean's office because you have officially plagiarism, and this will remain forever in your biography, or I don't know how you say it, but we will always, and every other professor will see that you have cheated, and that's not a good feeling. You can trust me. Of course, I don't have it, but we had such cases, and this is not a good feeling. So please don't do it.
How likely is it to get accused of false plagiarism? I mean, was there already such thing, or how likely is it to get, false plagiarism? I mean, if, for example, I don't use any external sources or ChatGPT, and then I get a warning that I'm using something.
So the question is, how likely is it to be a false positive? Yeah. Let's say like this. In our plagiarism discussions in the end of the semester, 95% of the students say, we copied the code. That's fact. And the 5% might be people, and we had one case where they say, okay, they don't know each other. They had this plagiarism case. And then we found out that they copied from the same website. That's unlucky. Both didn't cited it, but it was just, it was 30 lines of code. Then we'd say, okay, please next time cite it. But of course, they passed the course. That's not the problem. The problem are people who are really copying 100 lines of code, or discuss, or not only discuss, but show the code to other people. Maybe also post the code on, Studo. This is not a good idea because you don't know who read this, and there are always a few people who, they give up during the assignment, but then 2 days before the deadline, they see the code on Studo, and then they say, oh, okay, I'll just take this one and submit it. And that's also then your problem because you've posted it and we cannot identify who posted it, or maybe in this case we do not want to identify because it's your own fault then. So please do not post your Studo do not post it on Studo or Telegram or wherever. never share your code. No, so of course, when a tutor helps you, it will not be that extensive that there are now 50 lines of code more. The tutors might help you with 1 or 2 lines of code, maybe 5 lines of code where you have an error. And of course, this is not necessary to cite. And also, tutors are not, in this case, are not students. So they won't submit their solution. So in this case, this is fine. But if you have doubts about it, just cite it. One more cite and one less is better. The question is there a way that you can check how many lines of code is currently marked as plagiarism? No, there is not. And we don't want to do it, to be honest, because it shouldn't be that much of concern if you work on your own. As I said, I think we have never punished people who did not plagiarism. So if you work on your own or if you work in your group, that's fine. But there will be no website where you can see how much % you have in common with other students.
I also believe if you have the feeling that you need to check how many % you have in a plagiarism, then you probably did something wrong, because then you didn't work on your own. So I think this question was first.
If there's such minor questions online, do we have to cite them as well? So I know 3-4 lines of code, but it's just like minor errors in my code.
It depends. So if it's of course just an addition of 2 variables, of course not. Yeah, but if it is a very well thought algorithm, which is expert level, like then you should cite it, of course, because it looks a bit odd for us when you have this beginner's code and then there are 5 lines of code which are way too high for your expertise. So in this case, just cite it if you have doubts about it.
And there was a question. Yes, there will be a report where you can view which parts of the code and also in how many percentages each teammate did in the project. So this will be available. So if this is really early the case that you didn't really start, maybe we can merge teams. But if somebody just drops out of the team, he or she will receive a negative grade.
And the other team members, then just bad luck for them? Because they don't...
Unfortunately, yes. Yeah, it is bad luck for the other people. So that's why we said if you register for a group, then we hope that you stay in your group and to stay in the course. If you drop out, it's unlucky for the other 2 people in the group. So please, if you decide to register for a group, then stay until the end. No, there will be points for the whole group. So you receive the points as group. But of course, at the assignment interview, we grade you additionally individual. So when we see that, okay, there is one member of the group cannot solve easy tasks, of course, not the whole group get point deduction, but this individual person then.
How many percent of the code can be cited as from an external source?
I think it's 20%. So 20% can be cited from an external source. Everything else must be written on your own.
So in the previous slide was written that any use of external code is, what is over the code is counted as plagiarism. What if to solve some problem in the assignment, I have to use some sort of algorithm that already exists, that is well known and that anybody has access to solve algorithm on the internet?
Yeah, so the question is if there is an algorithm to implement which is well known. Of course, we also know it when it is well known. And when we see there are 10 groups implementing the same algorithm, it's not a problem at all, of course. But again, you can cite it and then you are more safe. But we also know what algorithm is or can be used for problems. And in the end, there is, of course, an automatic plagiarism check, but in the end, we have a look at the results and we decide if it is plagiarism or not. So in this case, we will see that and we will remove then this.
Does the line checking tool, which percentage a member has contributed, also include the co-author? Because when you do pair programming, we have just one laptop and then one person pushes and we can mention the co-author and then it would be split evenly, or?
So in general, we would like you to work individually, also as a team. Of course, you will meet in the team, you will discuss things, but then we would like you that you sit on your own laptop and also produce the code on yourself. Of course, if there is, for example, an error that you need to fix, then do this together, fix it together. This is also fine, but please do not sit down as a group of 3 or 2 students and program everything together. We really also want to see your individual work.
Yeah, because we want to know if every group member is able to write code, and this is the only way we can find it out. So I know pair programming is a cool thing, but in this case, at least everybody should write, yeah, let's say more than 20% or 25%. 25% of the code. In this case, this is the only way we can identify that everybody participated. Sorry, I didn't get it. Once again, please. Not really. So we know you are in the second semester. You don't have to write perfectly performance code. But in the test cases, as you might know from the previous course, there is a timeout. And if your code takes too much time, and this is a very, very high limit, you should arrange your code in a way that it is more efficient, but this is a very, very high limit. And we will give you very, very good hints how to do that and make it more efficient.
So I think it's like 20 seconds most often. So I believe it's really hard to hit that limit.
Yeah. Okay, so I think most of the questions are answered. I like it if you have questions, but I think we have to continue. If you have more questions, of course, we will be available at Discord, or you can also answer, I don't know, next week or whatever. But I think regarding this part of the lecture, we should continue.
Okay, so as David already mentioned in the beginning, if you need help, there are many things you could do. We offer, again, these personal question hours where you can ask questions about basically anything regarding this course, whether it's about assignments, content of the lecture you didn't understand, or problems in your code. And the dates will be available in the Teach Center soon, where you then can register for these personal question hours.
And one last thing, everyone needs to register to gitlab.thgraz.at at least once. So everyone who did Introduction to Programming has already completed this first homework. Everyone who is now the first time doing a programming course with us, please register to gitlab.thgraz.at. We need you to be registered there because we need to create the repositories on GitLab, and otherwise we don't know you there.
So with registering, we just mean that you log in once with your single sign-on from the TO cards.
Yeah, exactly. And
but unfortunately, it's not the first homework where you get points.
No, you don't receive.
Sorry.
Yeah. And then we have two more hints to you what you can do now. And of course, one thing is to closely watch the lecture and the practicals. So this would be the first thing that you really should do now in the course. And we will start soon then with introduction to C++ after a short break in some minutes. And we also published our voluntary exercises, so you can already have a look on them and start programming if you like and make yourself familiar to the first concepts. That's it for this part. I think we already had enough questions now. If you still have questions, just come to us. We will make now a short break of about 10 minutes.
Yeah, 10 minutes is, I think, good, yeah.
So when do we start again?
Let's start at 5:25.
Yeah, so we'll start at 5:25 with the introduction to C++.